Imagine this. A simple farm boy from the heartland of America with no military genius in his blood, stumbles upon a secret that the top brass in Washington desperately tried to bury. It's May 1944 and the Pacific War is a meat grinder, chewing up young men by the thousands. But this one soldier's forbidden act of defiance doesn't just save his squad, it rewrites the rules of combat and spares hundreds of lives. What if I told you the weapon he used was labeled, "Do Not Touch" by the Army, yet it became the key to cracking Japan's unbreakable defenses? And the craziest part? The general spent years pretending it never happened. Stick around, because this tale of ingenuity under fire will make you question everything you thought you knew about World War II heroism. Let's set the scene in the sweltering jungles of Biak Island, off the coast of New Guinea. It's a speck of land, but strategically vital for General Douglas MacArthur's island-hopping campaign toward the Philippines. The U.S. 41st Infantry Division, known as the Junglers, hits the beaches on May 27, 1944, expecting a quick mop-up. Instead, they slam into a fortress engineered by Japanese Colonel Naoyuki Koizumi and his 11,000 troops. These aren't hasty trenches. The Japanese have hollowed out natural coral caves, reinforced them with concrete and logs, and linked them into a deadly web of interlocking fire zones. Machine guns chatter from slits carved into cliffs, artillery thunders from hidden positions, and snipers pick off anyone who moves. Enter Private First Class Clarence Hale, a 22-year-old from rural Nebraska. Hale isn't your typical war hero. He grew up milking cows and fixing tractors on his family's wheat farm, dropping out after 9th grade to help during the Depression. Drafted in 1942, he trains at Camp Roberts in California, where he learns the basics: march, shoot, throw grenades. His officers note he's steady but unremarkable. No sharpshooter awards, no leadership flair. Assigned to Company G, 186th Infantry Regiment, Hale's role is straightforward: advance, engage the enemy, survive. But survival on Biak is no sure thing. The island's terrain is a nightmare: dense mangrove swamps, razor-sharp coral ridges, and humidity that saps your strength before the bullets even fly. Japanese tactics here are evolved from lessons learned on Guadalcanal and Tarawa. Dig deep, fight to the last man, make every inch cost the invaders dearly. U.S. intelligence underestimates the defenses, predicting light opposition. Reality hits hard. In the first 48 hours, the 41st Division advances barely a kilometer, losing over 150 men to withering fire from those impregnable bunkers. Hale's platoon is pinned down on May 29 near the Parai Jetty, a key landing point. Coral bunkers dot the landscape like armored hives, each housing a Type 92 machine gun crew. These nests are masterpieces of engineering: slits just wide enough for a barrel, angled to deflect incoming fire, with rear exits for resupply. Standard procedure calls for saturation with artillery, then infantry assault with rifles and grenades. But artillery shells often ricochet off the coral, and the Mark II fragmentation grenades, the Army's go-to since World War I, prove disastrously ineffective. Physics, plain and simple. The Mark II is a pineapple-shaped cast-iron bomb, weighing about 1.4 pounds, designed to burst into lethal shards over open ground. Against bunkers, soldiers must lob it precisely through those narrow slits. Most throws fail. The grenade's rounded shape causes it to glance off walls, roll away, or explode harmlessly outside, where thick coral absorbs the blast. Field data from earlier campaigns like Eniwetok Atoll shows a success rate of barely 10%. Each miss buys the enemy time to reposition, call in mortars, or simply keep firing. Hale watches in horror as his buddies try and fail. Sergeant Ellis Barker hurls 3 grenades in a row, each bounces back, one detonating close enough to wound 2 Americans with friendly shrapnel. The platoon has been stuck for hours, ammo low, medics overwhelmed. Casualty rates climb. For every bunker neutralized, the division averages 4.1 losses. With hundreds of positions identified across Biak, projections whisper of a bloodbath rivaling Iwo Jima. The Army's response? Innovations trickle in, but they're band-aids. Grenade launcher attachments for M1 rifles extend range but sacrifice accuracy. Extended fuses give more throw time, yet increase the risk of enemy troops tossing them back. Training manuals preach proper arc and velocity, but in the chaos of battle, with sweat stinging your eyes and bullets whizzing by, theory crumbles. Deeper issues lurk in doctrine. The U.S. military, shaped by European warfare experiences, emphasizes mobile offensives and above-ground fights. Pacific realities demand adaptation, but bureaucracy slows change. Ordnance experts in Aberdeen Proving Ground test weapons in controlled settings, not jungle hellholes. FM 23-30, the Infantry Field Manual, insists fragmentation grenades are optimal for all assaults, citing their safety and reliability. Enter the wild card, white phosphorus grenades like the M15. Officially they're for creating smoke screens to mask movements or signal positions, never for direct attack. Labeled as chemical agents, they come with dire warnings. The phosphorus ignites at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, producing thick white smoke and intense heat. Regulations forbid their use in confined spaces due to splashback risks and ethical concerns over incendiary effects. Geneva Protocol debates rage in Allied circles about chemical warfare, and the U.S. treads carefully to avoid accusations. But on Biak, desperation breeds creativity. Hale, during a resupply mix-up, finds two M15s in his kit, meant for another unit. He knows the rules, smoke only. Yet as he hefts one he notices its heft, nearly 2 pounds, cylindrical, less prone to bounce. Farm life taught him trajectories, skipping stones across ponds, pitching feed sacks into barns. Intuition sparks, what if this heavier design could slip through those slits where lighter frags fail? His platoon leader warns him off, that's against orders, Hale. You'll get us all in trouble. But with the bunker ahead spitting death and bodies piling up, Hale weighs the odds. Defy doctrine or watch more friends fall. What follows is a pivot that turns the tide, not just for his unit but for the campaign. Private Clarence Hale crouches in the coral dust, heart hammering, the M15 white phosphorus grenade heavy in his palm. 20 yards ahead, the Japanese bunker's firing slit spits orange tracers that snap through the leaves like angry hornets. His platoon is bleeding. 7 men down already, the rest pinned so tightly they can't even crawl to better cover. Every standard Mark II grenade thrown so far has failed spectacularly. Bouncing, rolling, exploding uselessly against the coral lip. Hale knows the book says never use these smoke grenades offensively. He also knows the book isn't saving anyone today. He glances at Sergeant Barker, who's staring at him like he's lost his mind. You throw that thing wrong and we're all breathing fire, Barker hisses. Hale doesn't answer. Instead he studies the slit again, the narrow opening, the slight downward angle, the way the coral curves just enough to deflect anything round and light. Farm instinct kicks in. Heavier objects fly straighter, drop faster, resist bounce. He's thrown feed sacks farther and more accurately than most men throw baseballs. This isn't so different. Hale pulls the pin. The spoon flies off with a metallic ping. For seconds. He rears back, plants his left foot, and hurls with every ounce of Nebraska muscle memory. The M15 arcs high then drops, clean, heavy, stable. It punches straight through the firing slit like it was guided. 1, 2, 3, 4. A muffled whump. Then silence. Not the sharp crack of fragmentation but something far more sinister. Thick white smoke suddenly gushes from every crack and opening in the bunker. Within seconds the machine gun stops. No more tracers. No more shouting in Japanese. Just choking, billowing phosphorus smoke pouring out like the cave itself is exhaling poison. A single scream echoes briefly, then nothing. The platoon stares in stunned disbelief. Barker's mouth hangs open. Holy hell, it went in. Hale is already moving, grabbing his second M15 from his web belt. Another bunker, 70 yards left, has opened up to cover its fallen neighbor. Same problem, same solution. Hale calculates the new angle in 2 heartbeats. Slightly uphill, smaller slit, crosswind. He throws again. The heavier grenade sails true, slips inside, detonates. Another plume of white death. Another silenced gun. Word races through the company faster than radio. Easy Company's got a guy using smoke grenades on the caves, and it's working. Men who were ready to die start believing they might live. Captain Raymond Caldwell, company commander and a by-the-book West Pointer, storms over during a brief lull. He's furious, field manual already open in his hand. Private Hale, those are M15 smoke rounds. The regs are crystal clear. Smoke and signaling only. Using white phosphorus offensively is prohibited. Geneva, Army policy, everything. You want a court-martial? Hale wipes coral dust from his face and meets the captain's eyes. Sir, how many more of us die if we keep throwing grenades that bounce off? I watched 7 men get cut down today because the book doesn't work here. Caldwell's jaw tightens. He looks at the smoking bunkers, at the stretchers carrying the wounded toward the beach, at the faces of men who just watched death pause for the first time in 3 days. He closes the manual slowly. I didn't see you throw anything except standard frag grenades, he says quietly. But if you get yourself killed doing this, I'm not the one explaining it to your folks back in Nebraska. Hale nods once. Understood, sir. By late afternoon, Hale has personally silenced 9 more positions. Each throw is surgical, angle, weight, timing. The phosphorus doesn't just kill, it makes the bunkers unlivable. Heat flashes to thousands of degrees inside the coral tombs. Smoke that can't be cleared. Air that sears lungs even if you hold your breath. Japanese soldiers face an impossible choice: stay and burn or run into American rifle fire. Most choose neither for long. The company's advance accelerates. 400 yards gained in hours. More ground than the entire battalion had taken in the previous 3 days combined. Medics report fewer walking wounded because fewer men are exposed during long, failed grenade exchanges. The platoon sergeant starts quietly asking Hale for pointers. Squad leaders listen. The forbidden technique spreads like wildfire through foxholes. By dusk on May 29th, battalion headquarters receives the first after-action summary from Captain Caldwell. The numbers are impossible to ignore. 11 bunkers neutralized by 1 private using M15s, 0 American casualties during those specific assaults, massive advance enabled. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Hargrove, battalion commander, reads the report twice, then calls an emergency meeting inside a canvas command tent lit by kerosene lamps. Major Ellis Conway, the battalion's weapons and ordnance officer, arrives already angry. He spent years at proving grounds, writing safety protocols, teaching doctrine. He slams a copy of FM 23-30 on the folding table. This is chemical warfare by another name, Conway says. White phosphorus in confined spaces is a war crime waiting to happen. Splashback, wind shifts, friendly troops downwind, it's reckless and illegal. Caldwell doesn't flinch. Major, we've lost 53 men trying to follow that manual against these bunkers. Hale's method has lost 0 in direct assaults. The math isn't close. The tent erupts. Officers shout over each other. Loyalty to doctrine versus loyalty to living soldiers, safety regulations versus battlefield reality, career risk versus immediate survival. Hargrove lets the argument burn for several minutes, then raises a hand. Enough. He turns to Caldwell. Bring me Private Hale. I want to see this for myself. 20 minutes later, Hale stands in the command tent, still filthy, still carrying 2 more M15s clipped to his belt. Every officer stares. Most have never seen a private inside battalion HQ. Hargrove speaks first. Soldier, are you using white phosphorus grenades against enemy bunkers? Yes, sir. You understand that violates standing orders? Yes, sir. Then explain why I shouldn't put you under arrest right now. Hale takes a slow breath. Sir, the Mark II is too light. It bounces. These caves eat frag grenades for breakfast. The M15 is heavier, flies straighter, goes in clean. Once it's inside, the phosphorus turns the position into an oven. No one can stay. It works. I've done it 11 times today and not one of my throws hurt our guys. Conway cuts in. And if phosphorus blows back on your own squad? You willing to live with that? I pick my angles, sir. I wait for the right shot. I haven't had blowback yet. Hargrove studies Hale for a long moment. Then he turns to Conway. Major, tomorrow morning you will personally observe Private Hale demonstrate this technique on a captured position. If it performs as described, I am authorizing limited use of M15s for bunker reduction across the battalion, pending division approval. If it fails, Private Hale will face immediate disciplinary action. He looks back at Hale. You get one chance to prove you're not insane. Don't waste it. The next morning, May 30th, a small group moves to a recently captured Japanese strongpoint half a mile inland. Hale stands in front of the officers, explains the physics in plain language. No jargon, just farm boy logic about weight, trajectory, and why round things bounce while heavy cylinders don't. Then he throws 3 perfect M15s into 3 different slits. Each one enters. Each one erupts in thick white smoke. Each bunker goes silent. Hargrove watches the last plume drift upward. He turns to Conway. Effective immediately, distribute M15s to all rifle companies. Private Hale will train squad leaders today. Get it done. Conway's face is stone, but he salutes. Yes, sir. By noon the first training sessions begin. Hale moves from platoon to platoon, showing the grip, the stance, the angle, the 4-second count. Soldiers who yesterday believed they would die on Biak start believing they can win. And somewhere deep in the Japanese cave network, a young lieutenant scribbles in his diary, "The Americans now throw burning smoke into our positions. The white fire eats the air. Men cannot breathe. Our strongest caves are becoming graves. The tide has turned.